Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Today's show is sponsored by Mint Mobile. Plans starting at just $15 a month on America's largest 5G network. You can sign up now at mintmobile.com/chatsports. On today's show, we'll break down the Seahawks depth chart that's been released ahead of Monday's matchup with the Denver Broncos. Also, there's a few rookies that will start for the Seahawks on Monday. And then the question, when will we see Drew Lock? Will it be anytime soon? You already know that Geno Smith is the starter for Week 1, but ESPN put their projections out of when we will see Drew Lock at some point this year. We'll talk about that coming up later on in the show. But first, a reminder, we'll be doing a live watch party on Monday night for the Seahawks and Broncos season opener on Monday Night Football. We'll get things started about 15 minutes before kickoff at 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. For our live watch party, we'll do a little pregame show, react to the game in real time, and have postgame reaction as well right here on the channel. Seahawks versus Broncos live. Subscribe now so you can be a part of our watch party and all the latest happenings with your favorite team. Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. We begin today looking at the Seahawks depth chart, the unofficial depth chart that is, that's been released ahead of Monday's game versus the Denver Broncos. And for the most part, it seemed par for the course, what we expected, but there were a couple things that stood out. Let's start out with the quarterback position. Geno Smith, your starter for Week 1. Pete Carroll made that decision after the final preseason game when Drew Lock struggled with 3 interceptions. His decision was pretty much made for him with Geno Smith being that number 1 guy. Jacob Eason, you can see listed as that quarterback 3. He's on the practice squad. And if something were to happen to Drew Lock or Geno Smith, you'd have to think that he'd get called up. The running back position, also the fullback spot as well. The backfield for Seattle, Rashad Penny is your RB1. Kenneth Walker sitting in at the number 2 running back spot with Nick Bellore starting at fullback. He'll also play some linebacker and special teams as well. Kenneth Walker III likely not going to play on Monday night, but no need to fear. Travis Homer and DJ Dallas looked really good in the preseason. They should be able to fill the void just fine with Walker out. Some depth there behind Penny and Walker. The wide receiver positions for the Seahawks. Metcalf and Lockett both coming off spectacular seasons in 2021. Both of them will certainly have their names called upon them a lot with a new quarterback in Geno Smith. The Eskridge and Marquise Goodwin also there along with Young and Hart. And a big drop-off once you get past Metcalf and Lockett. Who's going to step up and be that next guy as your number 3 receiver? The tight end room, the Seahawks depth chart has said this for a while, and it continues, that the number 1 tight end is Noah Fant or Will Dissly. A good problem to have, quite frankly. Both of them very talented players, and if you can get them both on the field, that's a very good thing. Colby Parkinson, your number 3 tight end. So, with that, I like Noah Fant a little more than I do Will Dissly, but both of them very good players, and it's good to have multiple options. I don't think this is a bad thing that you have the or on the depth chart. As annoying as it may be, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm riding with Noah Fant. Who is your guy? If you had to choose between these 2 tight ends, if you had to make the decision and get rid of that or and decide who is the tight end number 1, then who would it be? Would it be Will Dissly? Would it be Noah Fant? If it's Will Dissly, type WD for Will Dissly. If it's NF, type NF for Noah Fant. This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. While the ad's playing, get your votes in. Type WD for Will Dissly. Type NF for Noah Fant. And a quick fix there. Eason not on the QB depth chart. Practice squad guy, but kind of the de facto number 3 quarterback for the Seahawks. So, moving on. Let's go ahead and look at the offensive line. And for Seattle, you can see there Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas starting at left and right tackle. Your bookend rookie right tackles there for the Seahawks, along with Lewis, Austin, Gabe Jackson, that group. we've seen that this was going to be more than likely the five going forward. The big question for Seattle was if Jake Curhan was going to start over Abraham Lucas. Lucas was getting first-team reps back in minicamp. Curhan had an opportunity to win the job, but ultimately they go with Abraham Lucas. He wins the job, and we'll see those two. So although this group, I think there's a lot of potential, there will be some growing pains you'd have to imagine for them heading into the year with starting rookies there. Let's move to the defense now. The defensive line led by Poona Ford, Al Woods, and the big, bad Shelby Harris on the defensive end spot as well. That, as you can see, those three guys leading the way in this new defensive scheme under defensive coordinator Clint Hurt on the defensive line. Very intrigued to see what they bring to the table, in particular Shelby Harris as well, one of the newer members of the Seattle Seahawks. Then we move to the linebacker group. And the linebackers, of course, led by Jordan Brooks. He now takes over for Bobby Wagner as the signal caller on the defense. And last year, Jordan Brooks was second in the entire National Football League in tackles. He's joined by Cody Barton. Cody Barton really struggled throughout the preseason. Can he step up a bit? That remains to be seen. And then at the outside linebacker spots, Uchenna and Nwosu, who the Seahawks brought over from the Chargers, who they really like, as well as Darrell Taylor. Those guys will be fascinating to see what they can put together. And behind them might even be just as interesting. Boye Mafe, who had a really good preseason as a rookie, you'd have to think is going to get some snaps and rotate in from time to time. Alton Robinson played really well, but coming off injury, we'll see what he can do to get on the field there. To the secondary we go, and here's some more surprises. Mike Jackson, a guy that was borderline on even making the 53-man roster, had his back against the wall, ultimately makes it. He'll start at left corner next to Tariq Woolen, the fifth-round rookie. Woolen beats out Artie Burns as well as fellow rookie Kobe Bryant to get that starting nod, and they're joined, of course, by one of the best safety duos in the entire league, Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. And then beyond there, the guys that are competing in the special teams, you can see Jason Myers, Michael Dixon leading the way. They've been around for a bit now. The punt returner is Dee Eskridge, kick returner DJ Dallas, and then Tyler Ott as the long snapper. Kenneth Walker III listed as the backup kick returner, so we could see him potentially in one of those kick returner spots. So that is the complete depth chart of all 53 for your Seattle Seahawks. Now it's your turn to be the judge. You've seen the roster for the Seahawks. What is the weakest position for Seattle on this team in 2022? Let me know in the comments section. Tell me one position that's the weakest among those listed. You've seen the depth chart. Let me know in the comments section below. Today's show is sponsored by Mint Mobile, with plans starting at just $15 a month. Includes unlimited talk and text, as well as high-speed data and mobile hotspots. And Ryan Reynolds, he owns Mint Mobile, and he is offering a great deal for the folks out there. Look, we've run on some hard times, right? And we're all trying to save every penny we can. Well, why not go ahead and have high-speed data and unlimited talk and text and not pay a whole lot of money for it on America's largest 5G network? You can do so now with Mint Mobile, with plans starting at just $15 a month. Your mom's going to even tell you to stop calling so much just because you can afford it. Maybe lay off mom a little bit. Call your other friends. MintMobile.com/chatsports to sign up now. Start saving today. So let's focus in on the rookies that are starting for Seattle. Charles Cross, the moment that he was selected at number 9 overall, he was going to start at left tackle. The hope is with Charles Cross that you have your starting left tackle for the next decade. That's what you would hope for. Charles Cross, although did not look good in that preseason game against the Bears with all the mistakes he made, we'll see if he grows up a bit, if that was just one bad game and things can move forward from there. Abraham Lucas. My guy Brian Baldinger was all over Abraham Lucas, breaking down the film of what he was able to do, and he's already come a long way as a run blocker. He and Cross, similar concerns. We know that they're going to be good as pass blockers, but they have to learn to run block. And so far, what we've seen, Abraham Lucas is coming along nicely. And then there's Tariq Woolen. Had a bad night in the first preseason game against the Steelers, but was terrific in the next 2 preseason games, and now working his way to be an outside corner right away. Look, I like Tariq Woolen a lot. He's got great size. He's been working with Richard Sherman. He's been coaching him a bit as well. What's going to be interesting is for Woolen is not only the fact that he's got that job, but trying to keep it as well, because you'll get Trey Brown back off a pup at some point this year. And Kobe Bryant, of course, is going to continue to get better and develop as well. Tariq Woolen, not only am I excited to see what he's able to do, but also how he competes moving forward. If he can hold on to that job with good options as well, competing for that position there. So, of the youngsters, the young fellas, who will be the Seahawks' best rookie in 2022? Whether it was somebody we mentioned or somebody we didn't mention, let us know in the comment section below who will be the best Seahawks rookie this season. Let's talk about Drew Lock now. Drew Lock, the Seahawks' backup quarterback, was acquired in the Russell Wilson trade, and there was a hope among a lot of people that he would be the Seahawks' starting quarterback. Ultimately lost the job, but ESPN, their fantasy department, is projecting that we will see Drew Lock this year, that he'll start by Week 12 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Here's what Mike Clay had to say on Drew Lock. After a Week 11 bye and with the support of the home crowd, Drew Lock is projected to replace Geno Smith under center for the Seahawks in Week 12. Don't expect a major change in offensive output. However, as Smith is averaging just 249 yards per game up to this point, and Lock projects for 244 against the Raiders. So, what do the numbers look like when we see Drew Lock, potentially speaking, as ESPN says is going to happen? According to the folks at ESPN, they have Drew Lock Week 12 against that Raiders team, which could be a playoff team, going for about 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a QBR of about 85.4. So, fascinating to see those numbers there. Look, I think we're going to see Drew Lock at some point this year, whether it be injury or whether Geno Smith struggles. At some point, we will see Drew Lock. I don't know when. I would lean towards that it's sooner than what ESPN projects. They say Week 12. I would lean towards something about Week 8 at the latest, personally. What say you? Let's go back to ESPN's projection. Will Drew Lock start before Week 12 of this season? Will we see him not just come in, but start a game before Week 12 like ESPN is projecting? If so, type Y for yes. If you don't think that's happening, if Geno Smith is still starting by then, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Jones Live, and we will see you next time here on Seahawks Today.